There is currently no outright definition of commercial scale. This is because there is uncertainness with regards to how many works it will apply to or what sort of circumstances needed to be present for it to qualify as being on a commercial scale. So merely for the purposes of aiding me in explaining exactly what commercial scale means or relates to, the plain English definition seems adequate in gaining a basic understanding of the term. That would be that it needs to be concerned with or engaged in commerce. The only infringements specified in the Act to be criminal offences are those that occur on a commercial scale or for commercial purposes. These offences are found in sections 132AC to 132AO under Part 5, Division 5 of the Copyright Act. These sections include commercial scale infringement, prejudicing copyright owner, making infringing copy commercially, selling or hiring out infringing copy, and offering an infringing copy to for sale or hire. These were significantly expanded after the signing of the Australian and US Free Trade Agreement in 2006. A new category of infringement, or criminal responsibility for infringement, was introduced and broke up the criminal provisions into 3 separate tiers of offences. The way these work is quite complex in the legislation, though in simple terms they are put into 3 different levels of criminal copyright infringement. That is, indictable offences, summary offences, and strict liability. The highest level, which is punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment, are the indictable offences. These offences require people to be engaged in copyright offences commercially or on a commercial scale, and includes the fault element of intention or recklessness, which means that they must either know or be reckless that the material that they are selling or distributing on a commercial scale are infringing copies. The next level, which is punishable by up to 2 years imprisonment or 120 penalty units, are summary offences. Summary offences are easier to prove as they don't require intention. The only fault element here is to prove negligence, meaning that the person ought to have known that the materials that they were distributing, selling, or copying were infringing copies. And the final category is the strict liability offences. These offences don't require any intention element, but only require that the copyright infringement be engaged in for commercial purposes or on a commercial scale. These offences are then broken down further into an infringement notice regime. This means that law enforcement officers in Australia are technically able to issue on-the-spot fines to people engaged in commercial copyright infringements. Though these seem to have never been used in the last 8 years since its inception, however, they are still on the books. Although none of the criminal copyright offences get used that much in Australia, there was a big push to introduce them in order to combat copyright infringement. Since the Australia and United States Free Trade Agreement, there is still a push to do more about copyright infringement, but as far as criminal enforcement goes, we see very little of it here in Australia.
Created using Powtoon.